You're finally here. Now help me close this, would you? Fascinating. How does that work exactly? You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes.
Who are you?
Ah, getting ahead of myself again, I see. Dorian of House Parvus, most recently of Minrathous. How do you do?
Another Tevinter. Be cautious with this one.
Suspicious friends you have here. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine.
I was expecting Felix to be here.
I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father.
Alexius couldn't jump to Felix's side fast enough when he pretended to be faint. Is something wrong with him?
He's had some lingering illness for months. Felix is an only child, and Alexius is being a mother hen, most likely.
Are you a magister?
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians.
You're betraying your mentor because...
Alexius was my mentor. Meaning he's not any longer, not for some time. Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself.
I hope that's less dangerous than it sounds.
More.
Manipulating time itself? Many have attempted over the ages, but never once succeeded.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. Soon, there will be more like it, and they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world.
You're asking me to take a lot on faith.
I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. What I don't understand is why he's doing it, ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys.
He didn't do it for them.
Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious?
No, but I shouldn't have played the illness card. I thought he'd be fussing over me all day. My father's joined a cult, Tevinter Supremacists. They call themselves Venatori. And I can tell you one thing. Whatever he's done for them, he's done it to get to you.
Alexius is your father. Why are you working against him?
For the same reason Dorian works against him. I love my father, and I love my country. But this? Cults? Time magic? What he's doing now is madness. For his own sake, you have to stop him.
It would also be nice if he didn't rip a hole in time. There's already a hole in the sky.
Why would he rearrange time and indenture the Mage Rebellion just to get to me?
They're obsessed with you, but I don't know why. Perhaps because you survived the Temple of Sacred Ashes.
You can close the rifts. Maybe there's a connection. Or they see you as a threat.
If the Venatori are behind those rifts or the breach in the sky, they're even worse than I thought.
All this for me. And here I didn't get Alexius anything.
Send him a fruit basket. Everyone loves those. You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed.
There are worse things than dying, Dorian.
Announce us.
The Magister's invitation was for Master Adar only. These others will have to remain here.
They have to accompany me. You wouldn't deprive me of my attachés, would you?
My Lord Magister, the agents of the Inquisition have arrived.
My friend, it's so good to see you again. And your associates, of course. I'm sure we can work out some arrangement that is equitable to all parties.
Are we mages to have no voice in deciding our fate?
Fiona, you would not have turned your followers over to my care if you did not trust me with their lives.
If the Grand Enchanter wants to be part of these talks, then I welcome her as a guest of the Inquisition.
Thank you.
The Inquisition needs mages to close the breach, and I have them. So, what shall you offer in exchange?
Nothing at all. I'm just going to take the mages and leave.
And how do you imagine you'll accomplish such a feat?
He knows everything, Father.
Felix, what have you done?
We made sure to disarm your trap before we came in. I hope you don't mind.
I've yet to see your cleverness, I'm afraid. You walk into my stronghold with your stolen mark, a gift you don't even understand, and think you're in control. You're nothing but a mistake.
If I'm a mistake, what exactly was the breach supposed to accomplish?
It was to be a triumphant moment for the Elder One, for this world.
Father, listen to yourself. Do you know what you sound like?
He sounds exactly like the sort of villainous cliché everyone expects us to be.
Dorian, I gave you a chance to be a part of this. You turned me down. The Elder One has power you would not believe. He will raise the Imperium from its own ashes.
Blah, blah, my cult is better than yours. I've heard it 1,000 times.
Well, you know, it's a chance for the Imperium to really one-up that whole starting the Blight thing.
He will make the world bow to mages once more. We will rule from the Boric Ocean to the frozen seas.
You can't involve my people in this.
Alexius, this is exactly what you and I talked about never wanting to happen. Why would you support this?
Stop it, Father. Give up the Venatori. Let the Southern Mages fight the breach, and let's go home.
No, it's the only way, Felix. He can save you.
Save me?
There is a way. The Elder One promised, if I undo the mistake at the temple.
I'm going to die. You need to accept that.
Seize them, Venatori. The Elder One demands this man's life.
Your men are dead, Alexius.
You are a mistake. You should never have existed.
No!
Blood of the Elder One. Where'd they come from?
They're upon us!
I stink like...
Displacement. Interesting. It's probably not what Alexius intended. The rift must have moved us to what? The closest confluence of arcane energy?
The last thing I remember, we were in the castle hall.
Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when. Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time.
That doesn't sound good.
It sounds terrible, depending on when we are and what happened while we were away. Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can.
What was Alexius trying to do?
I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. I countered it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Make sense?
It just seems so insane.
I don't even want to think about what this will do to the fabric of the world. We didn't travel through time so much as punch a hole through it and toss it into the privy. But don't worry. I'm here. I'll protect you.
There were others in the hall. Could they have been drawn through the rift?
I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway.
Alexius mentioned an Elder One in the hall. Do you know who he was talking about?
Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some magister aspiring to godhood. It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. Evidently, it doesn't matter if you rip apart the fabric of time in the process.
You have a plan to get us back, I hope.
I have some thoughts on that. They're lovely thoughts. Like little...
Alexius, it's time to answer for your crimes.
And here you are, finally. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
What do you mean? What's ending?
The irony that you should appear now of all the possibilities. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, that is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius. What have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I want the world back.
No. No!
He wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
I know you cared for him.
Once he was a man to whom I compared all others. Sad, isn't it? This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible. You must go now. The Elder One.
Was wondering when he'd show.
We'll head out front. Keep them off your tail.
I can't let you kill yourself for me. There must be another way.
Look at us. We're already dead. The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have hours. Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die! You'll have to do better than that.
Put aside all claim to Redcliffe, and we let you live.
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Well, I'm glad that's over with. Or not.
Grand Enchanter, imagine how surprised I was to learn you'd given Redcliffe Castle away to a Tevinter Magister.
King Alistair.
Especially since I'm fairly sure Redcliffe belongs to Arl Tegan.
Your Majesty, we never intended...
I know what you intended. I wanted to help you. But you've made it impossible. You and your followers are no longer welcome in Ferelden.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
I should point out that we did come here for mages to close the breach.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
I know you are a mage, but consider how these rebels have acted. They must be conscripted, not coddled. It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later. I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now. We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
I'd take that offer if I were you. One way or another, you're leaving my kingdom.
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
It's not a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
Give them their freedom for now. If they prove later they can't handle it, impose restrictions.
And how many lives will be lost if they fail? With the veil broken, the threat of possession. You were there, Seeker. Why didn't you intervene?
While I may not completely agree with the decision, I support it. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. And here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
Closing the breach will require a lot of magic, and that means lyrium. I have contacts who can help.
Contacts meaning smugglers? Send them word. We need every advantage.
We have legitimate lyrium supply lines already.
And they don't need to hear of this. Keep it under the table, and I'll do what I can to quiet rumors. We should look into the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
And I'd hope to sit out the assault on the breach. Take a nap. Maybe go for a walk.
What is it they say? No rest for the wicked.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying?
Oh, didn't I mention? The South is so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
There's no one I'd rather be stranded in time with, future or present.
Excellent choice. But let's not get stranded again anytime soon, yes?
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make a willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
What's next? Elves running Hallam-Sharal? Cows milking farmers?
Give me time. I'm sure I'll surprise you.
I suspect that's untrue. Unless you strip yourself naked and allow the Chantry to flog you into repentance. Now that would surprise me. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given Southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
If that means they're anything like you, I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic, then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. So, I assume you're Tal-Vashoth or something like.
Why would you assume that?
If you weren't, you would have split my skull open at our first meeting before I said a word. Centuries of warfare with the Qunari do lead to this state of affairs.
You've encountered Qunari before?
Qunari raids are rather old hat for anyone from the Eastern Imperium. Although the attacks aren't quite the rampaging wars of ages past. Now we're like two angry dowagers who only remember to spit at each other when they pass on the street.
Did you meet any Qunari personally?
None who weren't rushing towards me with a sword. I was too busy running in the other direction to say hello. I've met some Tal-Vashoth in my time, however. Mercenaries and a few merchants. They're not the same as Qunari. Might easily be a different people altogether.
If only other people knew that.
It's a southerner thing. Most of them don't even know what a Qunari looks like. Forgive their ignorance, O mighty one. They shall learn proper fear in time.
If you've no problem with me, I've no problem with you.
A philosophy I've learned to live by.
No issue with my being Inquisitor, then?
None that specifically involve you being so very, very large. No.
Good. I should go.
Here I thought we were just getting to the good part. Here we are again.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree. But that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me. Brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
I was distracted, that's all.
Distracted? By my wit and charm? I have plenty of both.
Today, at least.
Oh, you wound me. I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters, a dark spawn.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is.
Not us.
They say Darkspawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there?
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
You didn't do anything. Those men did, 1,000 years ago.
True, except that one of them is up and walking around right now. Not to mention I have idiot countrymen who would happily follow him down that path again. No one will thank me, whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
We don't know what will happen. Nobody does.
An optimist! Such a rare breed. I've stumbled upon a unicorn. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way. You seem very interested in my opinions.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a Magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1,400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is, if he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Well, we don't have slaves in the South.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
I suppose not, no.
I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule, then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing?
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
But let me ask you something else.
Of course.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine?
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium?
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium?
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
I'm not sure about that, myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I should go.
Try not to die. I would notice you were gone.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding Felix, Alexius's son. He went to the magisterium, stood on the Senate floor and told them of you. A glowing testimonial, I'm informed. No news on the reaction, but everyone back home is talking. Felix always was as good as his word.
Was?
He's dead. The blight caught up with him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
It doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
Were the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, I had no intention of abusing Alexius's hospitality by seducing his son. Not that I've been proper my whole life, by any means. It wasn't like that. Even in illness, Felix was the best of us. With him around, you knew things could be better.
You make it sound like he was a better person than you.
What a mad thing to say. Few people are better than I. Very well, a better person, clearly, not nearly as handsome. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas. I'm told you have Alexius researching magic for you. Research is always what made him happiest. Perhaps I'll even go talk to him eventually. One word of advice. If he suggests altering time as a way to solve all your problems, give it a pass.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hosburg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. And the guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
Was it hard being away from him?
It was hard not having a patron, yes. I'm not exactly built to fit in. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
I should go.
Here I thought we were just getting to the good part. I could watch you roam Skyhold all day. Here and there you run, checking in on your followers. Why don't they come to you, feed you grapes, rub your shoulders? I suppose it's more fun this way. For me, I mean. You're rather strapping.
I've noticed you're rather strapping yourself.
Of course you have. That only takes eyes.
Luckily, I have those.
You do. A rather fetching pair. At any rate, you didn't pass by to hear me fawn. Something on your mind?
I should go.
Try.
Makes me uncomfortable, Inquisitor, but my feelings are of no importance. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do they have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know? That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy.
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
I'll see what I can do.
Bless you, Inquisitor. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I shall pray for your success and the young man's happiness. That's all we can hope for, is it not?
the place is deserted. Is this normal, or...
Dorian.
Father? You knew about this? Is that why you brought me here?
I'm only trying to help.
Help? Is that what you call this?
He didn't know I would be here, Dorian. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Parvus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
You went through all of this to get Dorian here. Talk to him.
Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
I'll need you to explain that.
Did I stutter? Men and the company thereof, as in sex. Surely you've heard of it.
I've more than heard of it, actually.
No. The Herald of Andraste. I am shocked and scandalized.
Such sarcasm.
You're not exactly subtle, O Lord Inquisitor.
I should have known that's what this was about.
No. You don't get to make those assumptions. You know nothing about the Inquisitor.
This is not what I wanted.
I'm never what you wanted, Father. Or had you forgotten?
That's a big concern in Tevinter, then?
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
Your father might be here to reach out. You could give him a chance.
Let's just go.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. For your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
Don't leave it like this, Dorian. You'll never forgive yourself.
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
He says we're alike. Too much pride. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
He tried to change you.
Out of desperation. I wouldn't put on a show, marry the girl, keep everything unsavory, private and locked away. Selfish, I suppose. Not to want to spend my entire life screaming on the inside. He was going to do a blood ritual. Alter my mind. Make me acceptable. I found out. I left.
Can blood magic actually do that?
Maybe. It could also have left me a drooling vegetable. It crushed me to think he found that absurd risk preferable to scandal. Part of me has always hoped he didn't really want to go through with it. If he had, I can't even imagine the person I would be now. I wouldn't like that, Dorian.
Are you all right?
No, not really. You could have told me. Maybe I wouldn't have gone, maybe I would. How will I ever know? Why didn't you let me decide?
I should have. I'm sorry.
As am I. That you had to witness any of it. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display.
I don't think less of you. More, if possible.
The things you say.
I mean it.
My father never understood. Living a lie, it festers inside of you like poison. You have to fight for what's in your heart.
I agree.
I see you enjoy playing with fire, Inquisitor. At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. Join me sometime, if you've a mind.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm being clucked at by a hen, evidently.
Oh,
What's going on here?
It seems the revered mother is concerned about my undue influence over you.
It is just concern. Your worship, you must know how this looks.
You might need to spell it out, my dear.
This man is of Tevinter. His presence at your side, the rumors alone.
What's wrong with him being from Tevinter, specifically?
I'm fully aware that not everyone from the Imperium is the same.
How kind of you to notice. Yet still you bow to the opinion of the masses.
The opinion of the masses is based on centuries of evidence. What would you have me tell them?
The truth?
The truth is I do not know you, and neither do they. Thus, these rumors will continue.
Oh, I'd like to hear what these rumors are exactly.
I could not repeat them, your worship.
Repeat them? So, you've shared them before.
See, I meant no disrespect, Inquisitor, only to ask after this man's intentions. If you feel he is without ulterior motive, then I humbly beg forgiveness of you both.
Well, that's something.
This sort of thing happens often, does it?
More than anyone tells you. No one knows their own reputation.
Until someone helpfully informs them.
There is that. She meant well, if that's of any concern. It does make me wonder. Is my influence over you undue?
Perhaps. But it's the kind of undue influence I enjoy.
No one accused you of being politically astute.
Not today.
I tease you too much, I know.
Oh, I probably deserve it.
I'll have to find something we can do that doesn't involve teasing. Soon, ideally. I do love how you're always on the go. It's tiring to watch you.
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
Let's do something interesting.
More interesting than wandering the countryside killing random strangers? Perish the thought. Come, we'll watch your soldiers bash each other with sticks while I critique their uniforms.
What's wrong with their uniforms?
Getting ahead of yourself, aren't you? I have a list. Let me find it. always a sight for sore eyes.
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
I was hoping to steal a moment alone with you.
I need to talk to you, he says. Have it your way, but let's go where 100 onlookers won't think I'm stealing the Inquisitor's soul.
Apologies, Your Worship. Running!
You seem very interested in my opinions.
I've been told something about an amulet.
How did you hear that? Oh, Liliana. Of course she would find out. Don't make an issue of it. I don't want someone solving my personal problems for me. I'll get the amulet back. Somehow. On my own.
I'm not entirely certain what it is.
The Parvus birthright. The flashy thing you show peons to make them tremble at your impressive lineage. I didn't leave Tevinter with much in the way of coin, so I sold it. Entirely forbidden, of course, and foolish, but I was desperate. I'll figure something out.
You don't even like your family. Why would you want it back?
Because it's mine, and it shouldn't be passed around like candy.
That's the only reason?
It's reason enough. Leave it be.
For something that seems so important, I'd have expected more than, I'll get it somehow.
It's not the only thing that's important. I lost the amulet. I may not have your resources, but I can't ask you to... You have too many people asking you for everything under the sun. I won't be one of them.
Inquisitor. Good, good. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
What? Is that why we're here? I said I wanted to do this myself. I don't want to be indebted to anyone, least of all you.
I apologize, but that won't be possible. Do forgive me, Inquisitor. But when I heard of your association with Monsieur Pavus, I could not resist. It's not coin I seek for the amulet, but influence. Influence you possess, but which the young man does not. Provided, of course, you desire the amulet for your friend.
Aren't you a merchant? Why not just sell it back?
I am not a fence, monsieur. I only bought your friend's amulet because of what it is. I do business in the Imperium. Having a birthright, even one not your own, is most useful in select situations.
He's got the right of it there.
That's why I gave the young man so much. If he relinquished it, how is that my doing?
You refused to sell Dorian his amulet, just to get me here. Mission accomplished.
I am not attempting to manipulate you, my lord. I only wish equitable recompense. The Ligue de Celestine is an organization of wealthy noblemen in Orlais. I would join, but I lack the lineage. If someone like you applied pressure, they would admit me. That would be worth the return of the amulet.
What do you think, Dorian?
Leave the man be. I got myself into this. I should get myself out of it.
Perhaps you should accept your friend's help, monsieur.
Kafas! I know what you think, and he's not my friend. He's... Never mind what he is.
As you desire. Even so, that is a price. I shall accept no other.
Perhaps you should take a moment to think about your position.
Forgive me, your worship. If it is your desire, I will have the amulet delivered to Skyhold immediately. Please, just think of me kindly. I meant no offense.
I'd feel badly for the fellow if he wasn't a toad.
Here it is.
Now I'm indebted to you. I never wanted this, I told you.
I didn't do this so you would be indebted to me, Dorian. I did it for you.
That's the problem.
How is that a problem?
Someone intelligent would cozy up to the Inquisitor if they could. It'd be foolish not to. He can open doors, get you whatever you want, shower you with gifts and power. That's what they'll say. I'm the Magister who's using you.
Is that all? Go ahead and use me, Dorian. Or are you all talk?
Oh, you are glorious. I am apparently an incredible ass at accepting gifts. I apologize and thank you. I'm going to stop before I say something syrupy, but I won't forget this, and I will repay you. Count on it. Have you been to your quarters lately by chance?
Not recently.
Do, when you have the time. There's something there that might interest you. So, it's all very nice, this flirting business. I am, however, not a nice man. So, here is my proposal. We dispense with the chit-chat and move on to something more primal. It'll set tongues wagging, of course. Not that they aren't already wagging. I suppose it really depends. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be?
I thought you'd never ask.
I like playing hard to get.
And now?
I'm gotten. I like your quarters.
Do you now?
Don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting we venture into mutual domesticity. I just like your appointments.
Ah.
Not that I couldn't suggest some changes. Your taste is a little austere.
If you want to change things around.
No, that's not what I want. I'm curious where this goes, you and I. We've had fun, perfectly reasonable to leave it here, get on with the business of killing archdemons and such.
Tell me what you want.
All on me, then.
Should it be all on me?
I like you. More than I should. More than might be wise. We end it here, I walk away. I won't be pleased, but I'd rather now than later. Later might be dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Walking away might be harder then.
I want more than just fun, Dorian. Speechless, I see.
I was expecting something different. Where I come from, anything between two men, it's about pleasure. It's accepted, but taken no further. You learn not to hope for more. You'd be foolish to.
So let's be foolish.
Hard habit to break.
I'm good at breaking things.
Hopefully not everything. Care to, inquisit me again? I'll be more specific in my directions this time.
Show off.
I have to admit, It does feel good to have my amulet back. I'm not above a bit of attachment, apparently. Bloody thing.
I need to talk to you.
Could at least bring me wine. Loosens the tongue, so to speak.
I thought we could discuss what happens after.
Ah, yes. After. Dreadful thing, after. Let's see. Assuming one or both of us aren't slaughtered along the way, what do you wish to happen? We could go our separate ways if you prefer. I've been a port in a storm before. I would understand.
Of course not. I want us to be together as long as we can.
You're very sentimental for someone who's killed as many people as you have.
You bring it out in me.
Sweet maker. Next you'll be making calf eyes at puppies. I don't know what the future holds. For us or anything. That's my honest answer. Once Corypheus is defeated, when this is over, I'd like to talk about it more.
Getting serious about mage stuff, magic, things. How about not so much? Just asking for not so much magic. Great, yeah?
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Which, the ones who do things or the ones who give orders?
What about Dorian?
You're having it off with him. You don't need me talking, but I do anyway.
You have remarkably little here on early to Vinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
That's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitive here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When we fell into the chasm, into the Fade, I thought you were done for. I don't know if I can forgive you for that moment.
I'm sorry you had to go through it with me.
I'm not sorry I was there with you. I thought I'd lost you. You sent me ahead and then didn't follow. For just a moment, I was certain you wouldn't. I thought, this is it. This is where I finally lose him forever. Are you all right?
I learned a surprising amount. What happened at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, for one.
Regained your memories. That's good, then.
I think so.
You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
At least you were at my side.
No offense, but I'd almost rather I hadn't been.
No sense of adventure. That's surprising.
I've not your talent for survival. And not everyone is as discerning as I. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
That's a good idea.
There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck. This is all so familiar. I half expect my mother to materialize from the crowd and criticize my manners.
Don't wear yourself out mingling. I expect a dance before this is over.
Dancing with the evil Magister in full view of every noble in Orlais. How shocking.
They'll live.
You say that now. If you can find me 10 silk scarves, I've got a dance that will really shock them. There was an ancient dowager looking for you. Said she had 12 daughters. I told her you'd left already. You can thank me later or now. But you look lost in thought. Something on your mind?
This isn't over yet. Corypheus will strike back at us for this loss.
Eventually. Not right this second. Even when he does, it's not as if we won't be expecting it. Not this time. What you need is a distraction. I have just the thing. Let's dance.
I was hoping you'd ask.
Thank goodness one of us has a little initiative. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Personally, I'll remember our dance.
There could have been more corpses about, although I suppose we might have tripped over them.
You're a grim young man, Dorian.
Nonsense. I simply enjoy the drama. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
You'll note the intact Illuvian. I was correct on that count, at least.
Is it still a threat? Can Corypheus use it to travel the Fade?
You recall when I took you through my Illuvian, I said each required a key? The well is the key. Take its power, and Methal's last Illuvian will be no more use to Corypheus than glass. I did not expect the well to feel so hungry.
Seems like that should be a concern.
Knowledge begets a hunger for more. I am willing to pay the price the well demands. I am also the best suited to use its knowledge in your service.
Or more likely to your own ends?
What would you know of my ends, elf?
You are a glutton drooling at the sight of a feast. You cannot be trusted.
Of those present, I alone have the training to make use of this. Let me drink, Inquisitor.
You're not concerned about the price? Bound forever to the will of Mithal?
Bound to the will of a dead god? It seems an empty warning. Perhaps a compulsion yet remains. Who can say otherwise? I do not fear it, even so.
You alone? You're not the only mage here.
I have studied the oldest lore. I have delved into mysteries of which you could only dream. Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
What about you, Dorian?
A human from Tevinter scoops up the last bits of elven knowledge? I know why you ask. I know it's important, but I can't be that man.
I would be.
You lead the Inquisition. This is not a risk you can take. I have the best chance of making use of the well for everyone. Let me drink.
I hate to say it, but Abelas's plan to destroy the well may be the best one.
What happens when Corypheus comes for you again? He is immortal. The wisdom of the well may include a way to destroy him. Give me this, and I fight at your side. I shall be your sword.
looking at it, listening to it. That's not just knowledge from the ancient elven priests. It's their will.
How would you know such a thing?
That's what Abelos was telling us. The collective will of the priests puts anyone who drinks under a compulsion, a gas. Can't you feel it?
That would match the legends, but it does not tell us what the gas entails. I would still use the well, but you are right. We must be cautious.
Thoughts? She is right about only one thing. We should take the power which lies in that well.
I trust you with this power more than her. But it's not for me to decide.
I don't want to risk losing you to a well.
Enough deliberation. Give me your decision.
If anyone is to use the well, it will be me.
So you will take what little knowledge you can understand and let the rest go to waste?
And who's to say?
I do. But do as you will with the Well of Sorrows, Inquisitor.
Why am I here? Corypheus, a magister wishes to rip the veil open. I must learn how to stop him. If you can help me vanquish Corypheus, take whatever price you wish.
Festis Biumo Carnavarum. If you don't come through this, I swear I'll kill you. How do you feel?
The Illuvian!
There is a rumor being circulated. I find it hard to credit, but it suggests you and Dorian
Are what?
romantically involved.
Yes, I suppose it's true.
I must admit I am a little surprised.
I don't see why.
True enough. It is your business, and I will leave it at that.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
That elf, Abelas. He said the Imperium wasn't what destroyed the elves. My people would never accept that. It would reduce us to scavengers, destroy our legacy no matter how terrible. But we should accept it. Take our history down a peg. Confront the legacy hanging over us like a shroud. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
You would just leave? What about...
Us? Trust me, Amatus. It would give me no pleasure to leave your side. You make monumental decisions affecting the entire world. How can I not consider some of my own?
Why don't I go with you?
Take you away from all this? I can't ask that of you.
You don't have to ask. I'm offering.
Tempting. We both know you would end up doing it all yourself. As much as watching my homeland beaten into submission would amuse me, this is something I need to do.
I need you at my side, now more than ever.
Emotional blackmail is a fine thing to pull out of your arsenal.
But I didn't...
I'm joking. I'll think about it. Closely. This is your fault, remember? You inspired me with your marvelous antics. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
Then it's over. How lovely.
And you're alive. And I'm alive. Incredible, isn't it?
And the sky is healed, healthy, whole. There's just that left to remember.
Looks that way.
What do we do now?
We go back to Skyhold.
Such a mess. She was completely breathless. You were at the battle with the evil one, weren't you? I didn't even get a chance to answer. She hugged me. Hugged me. This is your influence.
Admit it, you're having a ball.
I don't trust camaraderie. All these people smiling, buying me drinks. It's unnatural. Mind you, I can't say I hate the notion of being the good Tevinter. I suppose you can't all be evil bastards. The blacksmith said that, and he spat when we first met. I hope my father hears. He will shit his small clothes from shock, I swear.
I'm happy you're here, after all that's happened.
I fully expected to die. It would have been thematically appropriate. And you could have been a martyr. Oh, the songs they would have composed.
There will still be songs.
Yes, but they won't have the same gravitas. We'll just have to be satisfied with being alive. And together. I've decided to stay with the Inquisition. For now.
You will?
There's no you in Tevinter. What else matters? Going somewhere, Amatus? You didn't think one brief chat would be enough, did you?
You do know we have all the time in the world now.
You say that, but I'm not waiting until the sky splits open again. See? Much better. Yes, I'm sure you have all the things to say. 2 things in private before you run off. First, you are terribly dull and I hate you.
And what's the second?
I hope this ends soon. frightening thought. A divine with enough spies to know how often you piss. It will be difficult to return to Tevinter after all this, and leaving you, most difficult of all. I'd almost rather let the Imperium rot. Such is my lot. Just a little longer, then. What's to come, I wonder? My guess, a plague of bees.
We wish to greet you on behalf of Ole. I believe he is currently speaking with the Tevinter ambassador. Many of your friends have returned as well. I hope you have a chance to speak with them before the Exalted Council begins.
The Imperium sent an ambassador?
Yes, your worship. Dorian Pavas has taken the chance to return from Tevinter. It will be good to see him again. I owe him my apology. I allowed my distrust of Tevinter to cloud my judgment. I am glad you saw more clearly than I did.
You're going to apologize? To Dorian?
I have little patience for those who cannot admit they were wrong, your worship, myself included. I will have to make my apology somewhere public. He will want an audience for his reaction.
Thank you, Mother Giselle.
Oh.
Is everything all right?
Yes. Well, I wanted to speak with you, and now you're here.
This seems serious.
It's not about me. It's about you. Maybe you should sit.
I can stand.
Maybe I should sit. Inquisitor, I want you to know that I am your friend. I will always be your friend.
Oh, well, that's...
So I hope to give you sound advice on this momentous day. Do what is in your heart, my friend, no matter what anyone might tell you.
Maybe I should leave and come back. I think I missed the beginning.
I'm talking about marriage.
Marriage?
Of course, Dorian being Tevinter will raise eyebrows across the Empire, but if that is you... You're not proposing to anyone. I am going to kill Varric. Why do I believe everything he says? Why?
He said I was going to propose?
He mentioned a proposal. I suppose I filled in the blanks. Or he did this on purpose. That dwarf gets entirely too much joy from my discomfort.
I might get married. I've thought about it.
I suspected as much. Being Inquisitor has brought you good things. Many good things. But only a few have been by your choice. Take what happiness you can from those and do not let them go. That is all I meant to say. Advice from a friend for the days to come.
Ole is on your side, Lord Parvis. The Inquisition's support is not a thing to lose lightly.
Which is why the Orlesian court is circling it with a net and collar? But you'll have to excuse me. I see an old friend I must greet. Amatus, wading through all the pomp and circumstance I see.
You're back after being away in Tevinter for a month, and this is how you greet me.
I have an apology ready.
What have you learned about this council?
Ole wants the Inquisition tamed, Ferelden wants it gone, the Chantry meddles, and Tevinter sends but one ambassador. That's me, by the way. A reward for my interest in the South. Thankfully, Ambassador Pavas is a token appointment. Call on me as you like.
As the most eloquent dwarf you know, Sparkles...
Speech! Speech! Way too much speech.
Varric, there's really no need.
What's going on?
Inquisitor! You're just in time. Sparkles, the Imperium doesn't deserve you, or want you. It may even kill you, but we'll miss you, if it counts. And you didn't know. Okay, folks, time to take the party elsewhere.
Tama never wanted any. I swear.
Leave him.
It's true. I couldn't stay away from Tevinter forever. I'm leaving as soon as the Exalted Council is done.
But you weren't going to tell me that, or discuss it with me first.
I didn't want you to find out like this. Frankly, I've been dreading this conversation, but here it is. My father is dead. Assassinated, I believe. I received notice this morning. A perversely cheerful letter congratulating me on assuming his seat in the magisterium. We only met a few times while I was home. He didn't say anything about keeping me as his heir. This ambassadorship, his doing, I'm told. He must have wanted me away when the trouble began. I have to go back.
I know it was complicated, but I'm sorry about your father.
Thank you. It still doesn't feel real.
What of us? This is it, then?
Nonsense. There will always be an us. We'll just be farther apart for a time. Now, don't pout. They'll put that expression on a statue, and then you'll be sorry.
You think this is funny?
Nothing about this is funny. I am sorry, for what it's worth.
So you'll truly be a magister?
Oh, yes. I can't wait to degrade the magisterium with my presence. A new outfit is required.
And then what?
I find my father's killers and kill them back. Then I find those giving Tevinter a bad name and kill them. They're most likely the same people, so that should make the job easier.
You'll need help. I could go with you.
Not this time, Amatus. I won't be entirely without support. Maevaris has gathered other magisters who feel as we do. We'll be an actual faction in the magisterium. I'll teach them manners, take them shopping. It'll be fun.
You don't have to go back, Dorian. You put it behind you. You still could.
Give up a golden opportunity for martyrdom. Perish the thought. A present. A going-away present. It's a sending crystal. Amazing what friendship with the Inquisition gives you access to. If I get in over my head, or you're overwhelmed with sorrow for lack of my velvety voice... Magic. What? You didn't think I would just leave and you'd never hear from me again, did you? You are the man I love, Amatus. Nothing will truly keep us apart. Now let's finish the good wine before the others get back.
Relax, darling. It's spa day. How have you been? It seems ages since we've spoken. How are your international relations with our favorite Tevinter Magister-to-be?
Are you digging for gossip, Vivienne? Trying to get me to give up the juicy details?
Merely expressing concern for your well-being, my dear. Someone ought to.
I'm moving up in the world. Tevinter Ambassador. Fancy. Sad that it doesn't come with a stipend, or at least a decorative pin.
What is this ambassadorship about, exactly?
I believe my father set it up, but the Imperium certainly didn't object. They'd love for the Inquisition to fall apart, so they're happy if it seems they consider this council a waste of time.
That makes no sense.
No? If Dread Tevinter actually pushed for the Inquisition's end, everyone else would disagree on principle. So they send a nobody pariah and hope for the best. Makes perfect sense to me.
Any thoughts about the Exalted Council?
A few. Divine Victoria needs a new tailor, for one. From the paintings of Liliana in that enormous robe, you'd think she was pregnant. Could cause a delicious scandal. As for this whole Exalted Council business, well, I warned you once that no one would thank you for saving the world. Sadly, I'm always right. So long as the Inquisition's around to remind them they're not really in charge, they'll never sleep comfortably. Whether they have the guts to take action, I suppose we'll cold stone, dark tunnels, and surrounded by extremely hostile Canari. Not the place I'd have chosen for a romantic homecoming, Amatus.
I'm just happy you're back. It was hard being on my own again for so long.
Well, yes. Being deprived of me for so long would test anyone. Halam Sharal's guest suites are legendary. I've always wanted to try a wyvern-down bed. Can Josephine arrange something? Did you notice? Your anchor is flaring up near magic. Elven magic.
It doesn't hurt when I cast spells. What's causing this?
I'm not sure. Tell us if it gets worse. Look at this place. Now that we have so many samples, how hard would it be to build Illuvians of our own?
Oh, I knew this one apostate in Kirkwall you would have gotten along with like a house on fire.
After these past few years, it would just be good to create something magical that is also helpful for a change.
Your agents confirm there are Gatlock battles in Denerim's palace?
Yes, and in Val Royeaux and across the Free Marches. The Winter Palace is not the only target.
The Canari are one order from destroying every noble house in the known world.
Oh, there is a bright side. Warning the ambassadors will remind them of the Inquisition's value.
Not when the Inquisition is responsible for that threat.
They came in through us?
Yes.
How, damn it?
The elven servant handling the barrels confessed to working for the Canari.
But the servant was Orlesian. That implicates Orlais, not us.
But the barrels arrived at the Winter Palace on the Inquisition supply manifest.
How are we supposed to fight a war when we can't even trust our own people?
Do you know who got the barrels onto the Inquisition manifest?
Yes, several of the Inquisition's elven workers have gone missing. I had their backgrounds checked. They joined the Inquisition after fleeing the chaos in Kirkwall.
I remember when Kirkwall was at its worst. Many of the city's elves converted to the Qun, trying to find a better life.
And the Canari turned them into spies.
The Inquisition stopped Corypheus and saved the world. We can't let an outside threat change who we are.
I fought to protect the Inquisition in this exalted council. And for what? So we could deceive and threaten those we claimed to protect?
Once we locate the spies...
This isn't about the spies. You hid the Canari body. You've all but seized control of the Winter Palace.
We did what was right, not what was politically convenient.
Do you know what this has cost us with Orlais and Ferelden? They are planning to dismantle us as we speak. And perhaps they are right.
it! Damn it! We save Ferelden and they're angry. We save Orlais and they're angry. We closed the breach twice, and my own hand wants to kill me. Could one thing in this fucking world just stay fixed? I need to get to the Darvarad. You all can fight amongst yourselves once I'm back.
Thank you, Inquisitor.
Would you like us to inform the Exalted Council of the danger?
Yes, if we fail, the Exalted Council needs to know what happened.
I will inform them personally.
Leliana, I can...
No, your job is hard enough already. This is my responsibility.
I'll have guards ready at the Alluvion, in case the Qunari attack the palace.
Make her watch over you.
Nightingale told us what happened with your hand.
Why didn't you say something? I could have... I don't know, something.
Whatever happens, I wouldn't trade the years we've had together for anything. I love you.
I knew you would break my heart, you bloody bastard.
All right, Bianca. Let's show all the tall people how it's done. One last time.
It's been an honor to kick asses beside you all. Anan.
Are you all right?
We should hurry.
That sounded bad. Hold on a little longer.
My agents have found nothing. With the Alluvians, he could be anywhere.
With the Inquisition officially disbanded, we have no army, no formal alliances.
We have what we truly need.
We will need to be careful.
Solas knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will save our friend from himself, if we can.